Hello again, Cons here, and today I wanted to show you a fairly easy way to farm Safi'Jiiva's Awakened Weapons solo. Additionally, you can get its parts and even Dracolite to a lesser degree using these two new alchemies. The first one gives you Dracolite, although the method I'm talking about sort of gives you more than this, so don't worry about that. But I'll probably have that in a separate video because the method's quite different. What we're looking at today is this Awakening Alchemy, which allows you to swap in your excess Safi'Jiiva parts. 100 points per awakened weapon. So for example, one of these crystals will generate 3 weapons for me. And yes, as you can see by my items, it's probably not legit. But it generates 3 random items and you can take them all. So it's a little bit different to how the regular siege works, but it's a pretty convenient way to trade in your excess parts. However, if you've tried doing the quest solo, you know it's not really viable. It takes way too long to increase the levels of things, and just generally it's not really a fun thing to do solo. So this gives us a nice way to farm it solo, and if you use my optimizations, which I'll get into a bit later, you can get something in the region of like 50 points every 5 or so minutes, which, I mean, over the course of like a 20-minute hunt equivalent, that would give you something like 1.5 or 2 Safi'Jiiva awakened weapons, which really isn't that bad. But yeah, the method itself revolves around using the Plunderblade on your Palico, but again, I've got some optimizations which I'd like to share with you. So just get your Plunderblade up as high as you can, get your cat decked out so it doesn't die, although that doesn't really seem to be a concern, and get into the quest. I'll meet you there. Oh, and bring Farcasters for this first method. So for this first method, you're going to want to bring Farcasters, or I suppose a Farcaster and the combines for more. You have to keep in mind that your internal inventory space for your cat is only 4 items for this monster. So staying any longer than that to farm shinies is kind of inefficient. The idea is we're just going to get those 4 items filled up and get as many shinies as we can, and then immediately back out of the quest. So jump down here and use your cat's Palarang and Plunderblade. You're going to really want to have them close together on the item box. Unfortunately, I forgot to set that. Well, I said it and I forgot to save the item. Unfortunately there the Palarang dropped slinger ammo, which does happen from time to time. There's not really much you can do. I mean, I might as well grab it. Okay, so you can see it's using the Mount and Plunder. When that happens, you don't really care about the trading items, so you just want to ping and the cat will leave the monster. So just keep going until it's used both of its items. Please, thank you. Okay. And so now, once it's done, you just want to Farcaster back to camp. And here's the first optimization I was talking about. If you head into your camp, change your Palico equipment to something else from the Plunderblade, and then swap straight back to the Plunderblade, if I can speak. The cooldown timer will be reset immediately. You can see I have access to Plunderblade again, and in fact, just give me 1 second. There we go, and I have access to Plunderblade and Palarang immediately. And so you got straight back into the fight and just use them again immediately, and once they've both been used, repeat the process. I usually go 4 times, 1 for each item of the cat's internal inventory. Man, I'm really struggling to speak today because I'm feeling a little bit ill, I think. And if it ever does happen to use that Mount and Plunder, just ping and it'll leave the monster and not waste time. It'd be kind of cool if there was an armor skill that reduces your cat's cooldown times. But there we go, an actual shiny. We're going to teleport back to base camp, reset these 2 timers again, and then get straight back into it. So yeah, I'm going to go 4 times to fill up the cat's internal inventory, and then return from quest. And we are back. I think I accidentally did it 5 times instead of 4. I didn't pick up the last shiny though, just because I was worried. But yeah, so it took a bit longer than it should have. I managed to get 3 shiny drops. Unfortunately, one of them was slinger ammo. And the cat hopefully has a full inventory of 4 items, which we will see in a second. And there we go. This usually takes 5 minutes. Ignore the extra minute. I got a bit distracted and then I did it 1 more time than I should have. These are all worth 5 points each. There's a really good chance that the cat picks up an item worth 10 points too, the hard claw, instead of any of these. So on average you get something like, so in this case for example, we managed to get 35 points. Although usually I expect somewhere in the region of 45 or 50. So not really too bad for 5 minutes worth of work. So the second method requires a reasonable DPS set. I like to bring Greatsword. You'll see why in a second. Aside from that, nothing else. You want to bring Farcasters again. Again, I usually use these two methods together. This one is probably slightly less efficient, but it's also a bit of fun, which is why I do it. But yeah, I'll explain to you more when we get into the quest. So for this method, you're going to want to grab these stones or the ones down in the area. The idea for this method is that we're going to drag Safi'Jiiva towards the rocks at the back of the map. One rock to topple it over should give us enough time to break the back while it's down. However, sometimes it can take two. Usually if you have a good enough greatsword set, one is enough though. So what I do is I sort of run towards the boulders to try and get Safi'Jiiva to turn into them. I sort of line myself up with these rocks on the minimap. Watch out, Safi will try to laser you. There you go, it's turned around, and once it's turned around, start using your palarangs and your plunderblades and all that. And then stand underneath it to try and bait Safi to use the slam attack. The slam attack will drag Safi'Jiiva forward slightly every time. Usually only takes 2 or 3 for us to get as close as we need it to get. And it doesn't always play along. If it turns and ruins, then usually I will just immediately farcast and revert to the first method. So no huge loss. One more should be enough, so fingers crossed we get it. And again, if I don't get this straight away, usually I will just give up and farcast away and start again. So yeah, we want to get one more slam. Now that we're close enough, I get one more slam, but I position myself towards its tail, and then I run through when it slams, and then sort of position myself so that when it turns around, its tail will be close to the rocks. It will then usually laser. I like to bait out an arm swipe at this point, just to give me enough time to knock the boulders, and then head towards its back. Oh, didn't really get there very quickly, unfortunately, but so I might not be able to break them. There we go. See, 2 level 3 charges is all it takes, and that guarantees me a drop that's worth 10 points towards the awakened weapons, the pulse shell I think it's called, or something along those lines. But anyway, once that's done, if my Plunderblade is ready to go or almost ready to go, I'll just stay there. But if it's not, I'll just go back to the first method. I will now reset my stuff, get the cat to keep spamming these moves like I did before until I fill up its personal inventory. It should have 1 item in its inventory, maybe 2 by now, because we spent some time down there around Safi'Jiiva. But I like to just guarantee the 4 because there's no harm in it. Pick up the shinies, do all of that, and I'll join you again once we are done. And we are back. I think I did it 4 times. I got quite unfortunate. I got, I think, 2 old dragons treasures to spawn, which are trading items for research points, and also some slinger ammo. And despite that, I still got 2 of these shinies, so I am getting more rewards than I was using the other method. However, it did obviously take longer. So yeah, so I got 2 shinies to drop Safi'Jiiva parts. And the cat's inventory should hopefully have a few more, as well as the part break, which is an item, again, as I said before, worth 10 points. We'll see this all in a second. Oh, okay, I got 2 cortexes for breaking the back, which is also worth 10 points. It's the first time I've gotten this drop. Usually I get the pulse shell, but it's the same thing. So I got 2 of those, and here we go, 4 more items in the cat's inventory. No hard claws again. I tested this like probably half a dozen times before recording this, and every single time I usually got 1 or 2 of those hard claws, but I guess I've been particularly unlucky. But yeah, as you can see, another 5 minutes of work and another sort of 40 or 50 points worth of awakened weapons. And it's really that simple. You can just sort of do this to your heart's content. And yeah, as we've said before, we can go and swap those parts in. Either you can use them to craft whatever you need to craft, or you can swap them in for awakened weapons. I will talk about also using this to farm Draculite ore. However, I think I'll save that for another video because this has already gone on for quite a long time and it's 1 AM and I need to sleep. So I'll see you next time for that. Do feel free to subscribe if you're interested in that. It's not a particularly powerful method, but it's something like plus 50 or 60% Draculite ore, which is quite handy. But anyway, I will see you soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.